All right, welcome back, guys. Now, born and raised in Montego Bay, Jamaica, award-winning poet and author Safiya Sinclair has written in her book, How to Say Babylon, about her struggle to break free from her Rastafarian upbringing and find her own voice. So she joins us now via Zoom. Good morning to you, Safiya. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Congratulations, by the way, on all you've accomplished with this book. I mean, I don't know where you have not been featured yet, but how has the ride been for you?
It's been a good one, and I feel very grateful. I feel like the long hard work of writing the book for a few years is paying off.
All right, so let's open the pages now, because this is a very interesting story. You're from a creative family. Your father, a musician, and you say as well that your mommy actually inspired you and helped you to write poems as well. So let's talk about the upbringing of your life that led to the writing of this book.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I often say that this book was a lifetime in the making, but I do come from a very creative family, as you say. My father is a reggae musician. My siblings and I have always been very creative people. We had like a family band when we were growing up. We used to write these songs about saving the environment, and we used to travel around Jamaica playing them after school at high schools in Jamaica. But it was my mother who I think gifted me my love of language and my love of literature. And she was the person who first gave me my first book of poems. And she said, I think you will like this. Poetry has always made the world wide and wild and warmer for me. And I was like, wow, that sounds transformative, sounds amazing. And, I was 10 years old when she gifted me my first book of poems. And in the book, I say what my mother handed to me that day was gold. And she, over the course of my life, I think have given me these tools I needed to help me, encourage me to become a writer and to continue finding my voice through poetry and through writing and eventually writing this book. When the time came.
Yeah, it's so interesting because the words are so powerful, when we're able to chronicle our life, it's even more powerful, I find, when we get to tell our story from our own perspective. But you are a very young lady, so how do you go about writing a memoir at this time in your life?
But I've also lived a very unusual life, I think. So I think it's okay that I've written a memoir at this point. I think it was the right time to write it too, because I knew for a long time that especially when I moved away to go study in the US, and I think that's so many people outside of Jamaica have so many preconceived notions about Jamaica, but that are not correct. They have these ideas about our island that I think are quite narrow. And I really wanted in my poetry and also in this memoir to write things that can expand the global idea of Jamaica beyond the postcard idea of paradise,
Yeah.
To really represent and write about real Jamaican people, real Jamaican women. What are their lives like? What is a young Rasta girl's life like? When most people think about Rastafari, they think about the men, they think about the music, they all think about Bob Marley. But I don't think a lot of people outside of Jamaica, and I even have Jamaican friends who were like, I also didn't know what it was like for a young Rasta girl growing up inside of the Rastafari movement. And so it was important for me to be able to write it down and to share with readers what it was really like.
Yeah. What's interesting to me, though, because the title of the book is How to Say Babylon, and we've been hearing about Babylon all our lives, right? But it's not the system that you're talking about, like the general system. It's a system within your family that the book speaks to, right?
I think the book speaks to not just within my family, but also the systems outside, what the Rastafari think is Babylon, the evil ideology of the Western world. I think the book was also about me and my siblings kind of discovering what was that outside world, what was Babylon, and what did it mean to either be in it or be outside of it. And who are we going to be if we walk through Babylon?
Yeah. What was it like growing up in a strong Rastafarian home? Is it as strict as we've heard, rumors about?
Girl, yes. My sisters and I, particularly, I think on the women, there are a lot of rules around, what you can wear, what you can do. For a long time, I was kind of told that a woman's highest virtue was her obedience, her pliance, and her silence. And for the girls and the young women, we were growing up, my sisters and I, we couldn't wear pants, we couldn't wear shorts. We had to wear long skirts and long dresses that covered our arms, covered our knees. Of course, we couldn't pierce our ears, we couldn't wear jewelry, couldn't wear makeup. Anything that was seen as like the vain trappings of Babylon were forbidden. And then as time went on, we were also kind of forbidden from having friends. We couldn't go over to friends' houses. Friends couldn't come over to our houses if they weren't vetted, and were accepted as pure enough to walk into the Sinclair household. And so for a long time in my adolescence, I kind of learned to keep to myself, and I turned to writing and literature to kind of cultivate a self beyond this solitude, of being inside the gate.
Wow, what was that like, going through the writing process and unpacking all of those memories and putting it down on paper and maybe revisiting memories that you had as well? What was that process like for you?
It was hard. It was harder for me than my poems. I think the writing process of the memoir was a learning curve, because in poetry, my way of writing is so different that I can construct the things I'm trying to say in poetry in a way that allows me to jump around from line to line, and it offers some kind of escape. But in the memoir, there was none of that. I had to sit with the memories. I had to recreate the scenes. I had to think about what I remembered. What did he say? What did she say? What did I say? I had to have dialogue. I had to think about fleshing out my family as real full-blooded people, so that when anybody read the book, they would kind of see that the book was a tribute to them. They would see the love I have for them. But some of those memories that I revisited were hard. They were painful, and there were days where I sat at my computer and I cried, I wept as I typed. But my hope was always that in the writing, I could change the future of my family. I could change, the tenor of what happened in the past, that by excavating the past, I could turn it into something better, something beautiful.
Yeah. Have you and your father come to an understanding now, and did he read the book?
Everybody's asking me that, if he's read the book. I know he asked me to read the book earlier this summer, and it was the first time he ever asked me to read anything I'd written. And I told him that I didn't want to talk about the book until he'd read it to the end. And we haven't talked about it since then.
Wow.
But I know he started it. I just don't know if he finished. But I do know that, he won't say he's proud of me, because Rasta don't feel proud, right? Rasta don't deal with pride, but he has told me that he feels irie about, my achievements and everything that I've done with my writing and with the book. So,
let me tell you something.
The book itself has been this sort of currency of its own healing between me and my father, and I only hope it will continue.
Yeah, and I think that your vulnerability will be able to help others, who are in similar situations, to find their own healing in this process. Is the book available in Jamaica, or is it just online for now?
I believe it's available in Jamaica. I asked my publishers, I was like, for me, it's an absolute necessity that the book is available in bookstores in Jamaica and in the Caribbean.
Okay.
And they told me it was.
All right.
Because I wrote the book also for you, for Jamaican women, for Jamaican people everywhere. And so, first and foremost, it is for us.
I think so too. Congratulations again on everything, and thank you so much for sharing. All the very best, all right? Thank you so much. Award-winning poet and author Safiya Sinclair will be right back with more to come right here on Weekend Smile. Stay with us.